Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for Your Mark on the World, and we are really fortunate to have today with us an exceptional guest. We have with us Rob Bruff, the Executive Vice President of Zions Bank, and today we're talking about the Utah 100, the MountainWest Capital Network program for recognizing Utah's fastest growing companies. Rob, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure, Devin. Great to be with you.
It really is a great program that Mountain has been running now for about 20 years, recognizing the fastest growing companies in Utah. Tell us a little bit about the process for applying for the Utah 100.
Yeah, you know, the process is actually fairly simple for a company that wants to apply to be considered for recognition. You just visit the MountainWest Capital Network website at MWCN.org and click on the Utah 100 link and fill out the form to apply. Like I say, it's really relatively simple, but it's critical that companies get online and do it now because the deadline for applications is July 14th.
Rob, that deadline is coming right up. So July 14th, companies need to register. And they can do it at MWCN.org, right?
That's correct. And a couple of things to note. You talked about the recognition of the Utah 100, the fastest growing companies. There's also the category for emerging elite, as well as the recognition that is provided to the top revenue growth companies for the last 5 years. And there are a couple of different forms. One is for the Utah 100 and for the top revenue growth, and then there's a separate form for emerging elite. And so when you pop onto the website, look at the criteria for the two because you can only apply for one. Fill out one of those two forms, look at which one applies to you and your company, and complete that form.
One of the interesting things I've noted over the years is that companies sometimes get disappointed if they can't be listed among the emerging elite, but most of us at MountainWest at the organization get more excited about the big list, the Utah 100 list, because that's where the real action seems to be, isn't it?
Well, that's it. The Utah 100. That's like you call it the big list. That's the big show to be recognized among Utah's 100 fastest growing companies. I think we're all familiar with the fact that Utah has been recognized nationally for the business climate that exists here. Wall Street Journal recently named Utah the brightest star on the American flag, and to be recognized as one of the top 100 in the state of the brightest star, that's quite an accomplishment.
It really is. Now, the math tends to favor small companies, and so the MountainWest Capital Network has done something to make sure that we're recognizing large companies, including even the largest companies. Even Zions Bank has been recognized. What is MountainWest doing to make sure that we're recognizing not only the small but the large companies?
That's correct, Devin. What's being done is the recognition then of the top revenue in terms of dollar for the state, in addition to the percentage growth. As we know, the Utah 100 is based on percentage growth over a 5-year period of time, but the top revenue companies in the state of Utah are recognized for the total dollars in revenue, which allows us to recognize the larger companies for the great work they're doing.
So at this one event, what you have are companies like Zions Bank, the fastest growing entrepreneurial companies in the state. Those might include companies like Overstock.com or USANA. Some of the large, fast-growing public companies have been recognized on the Utah 100. Then you also have entrepreneurial companies, right? The new venture-backed companies. You kind of have the whole spectrum covered with these recognitions.
We really do. With this awards ceremony that takes place on October 21st, by the way, so mark your calendars for that. But at that event, we really recognize companies across the board in the state of Utah. You know, those who are at the pinnacle, at the height of revenue generation, those who are growing faster than others in the state and throughout the region, as well as those who are just up and comers who are emerging on the scene. It's a great opportunity to recognize companies across the board and celebrate business in the state of Utah.
Well, it is a fantastic event for those of us who've attended it. It's just amazing because not only is there a group of 1,000 people at this event, but these are largely CEOs, CFOs, executive vice presidents of Zions Bank. These are the big players in Utah, all gathered in one room.
Yeah, that's a great point, Devin. And again, I would remind people of the date, October 21st this year at the Grand America Hotel. But those who are attending from these companies, yes, it's the CEOs, it's the owners, it's the presidents, it's the C-level executives for the larger organizations. You'd be hard-pressed to find a gathering of business leaders comparable to this in the state of Utah at any other time. So it's really one of the premier business events of the year every year. And you mentioned at the outset of our broadcast, this year we're celebrating the 20th year of the Utah 100.
It just seems like any company that is doing well ought to be applying. Rob, who shouldn't apply? If you've got a company, who shouldn't apply?
You know what? I'd be hard pressed to think of someone who shouldn't apply. I mean, obviously, to qualify for the Utah 100, you have to be a for-profit Utah-based corporation. To be listed among the top 100, the Utah 100, you have to have 5 full years of operating history and had a minimum of, for this year, $50,000 in revenues in fiscal 2009. So that would be the qualifications for the Utah 100. But then for the emerging elite, that would be those who maybe haven't had that full 5 years of history, or who didn't have $50,000 in revenue in 2009. But if they've got 2 years of history and had at least $50,000 in revenue in 2 years ago, then they ought to apply. And so it's really open to everybody.
What I think sometimes people miss is that there's an opportunity for the small companies. The percentage math tends to work pretty well for small companies that may have started out with $50,000 to $100,000 of revenue 5 years ago and now have $300,000 or $400,000 of revenue. Those kinds of companies do really well, don't they?
Absolutely, because you from a smaller base, on a percentage basis, if you're growing aggressively, there's a great opportunity and there's a great chance for you to rank high on the list of the Utah 100. And so I would encourage nobody to say, hey, we're too small to be considered. You know what? Apply and no harm in that, and see what happens. And frankly, even if you apply this year and you're not among one of the winners, we'd still encourage you to attend the event because.
Oh no, looks like we've lost Rob. I hope we can get Rob back. Let's see if we can get him back before we wrap up. But Rob, are you going to be able to rejoin us? Rob, can you hear us? Well, we've been really grateful to have Rob. Rob is the Executive Vice President of Zions Bank. As you might imagine, Rob has a lot on his plate. Zions Bank, for those of you who don't know, is the largest bank in Utah, the largest homegrown bank, huge bank. It's, I believe, one of the 20 largest banks in the country, or at least banking corporations. Rob, are you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry, Devin. I don't know what happened there. I lost the connection.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I was just telling people a little bit about how busy you are as the Executive Vice President of Zions Bank. So that's probably a good segue for us to ask you why on earth Zions Bank cares about this. Why are you engaged in this activity as a bank?
Yeah, Zions Bank has a rich history of commitment to, in particular, small businesses, but businesses of all size, but a particular emphasis and interest in small business. And in the state of Utah, Zions Bank has been the leading small business lender for the last 20 plus years, and our interest is in promoting and assisting and helping small businesses reach their potential, not only by providing the financial services which we provide as an organization, but also the resources that they need to help them be successful. And we really appreciate our partnership with the MountainWest Capital Network, and their shared interest in promoting and strengthening business in Utah, in particular with small businesses.
Rob, you've committed a huge amount of time to organizing this event as the chair of the event this year. Why is this important to you on a personal level?
Well, it's important to me on a personal level because I'm interested in the future of the state of Utah, and the future of the state of Utah will be built upon the success of these organizations that are being recognized as part of the Utah 100. I have to say to your comment, and I appreciate your kindness and acknowledging my effort, but the real recognition goes to the committee that puts this together, and Sherry Farnsworth and all that she does with the MountainWest Capital Network. This being the 20th year, the committee and Sherry really have this down in terms of how to make this a successful event, and so I pay tribute to them for all their hard work and effort, and I'm just happy to help assist in that and be a part to help continue this great legacy of success for this event and this program.
Well, Rob, before we wrap up, let's just make sure we touch base again on how people apply. Tell people where to go and how to apply.
So jump on the website, www.MWCN.org. Right there on the homepage, you'll see the link to click on that, and the application pops up. So fill out the simple online application form, and you'll be applied and considered for this recognition.
Fantastic. Rob, thank you very much for your time today. Glad you could join us and rejoin us. It was a little scary there for a minute.
Devin, thanks so much. I appreciate being with you.
All righty. Let's do some good.
All right. Take care.